Hey, happy Wednesday, deities. Hope everyone is having a great middle of the week. I'm Isiah, Killgoon with me as usual, and we're back for another edition of Titan Talk. How you doing, Killgoon?
Doing okay. Yeah, I was saying before we started, I'm a little sleepy today. You know, the newborn not sleeping so great, which is to be expected for a newborn.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, it's a good day.
Sweet. Well, today we are going to be talking about a new patch that's going to be coming to SMITE 2 tomorrow. Lots of bug fixes in that patch, but also got some really exciting news for tomorrow's patch. Killgoon, you want to take it away?
Everybody had so much fun with Vulcan coming out early last week ahead of the weekend. We figured, why not do it again?
Why not do it again?
Yeah, so Hbot, turn it on tomorrow. So log into the game, play some of your favorite Howler Monkey with his new +1s, and we'll have that to look forward to. There's also a lot of other exciting stuff in this update. We do not have a full balance patch because we're pushing this out a little bit early.
Yep.
So we're probably actually going to drop the update tomorrow, but with the bigger balance pass on Friday. Yeah. So you'll have fun things to look forward to tomorrow and Friday.
I know, right? What a way to end the week.
Yeah. Just starting the weekend strong. At some point, we will have to pay the piper, and there will be a week without a god because we keep pushing them up.
Likely next week.
But yeah, we figured, hey, Hbot looks good. He's ready to go. Let's get him out there ahead of the weekend because a lot of people play over the weekend and can enjoy him. So
exactly.
Pretty excited.
Yeah, and since it's been a little bit since people have seen Hbot, and when we revealed him at Vegas, he was still kind of work in progress stage. There were a lot of things that were kind of temp and missing.
Yeah.
We figured why not just quickly go in game with him, kind of show off the kid a little bit, talk about Hbot before you all get a chance to play with him tomorrow. So I will bring up the handy dandy laptop here.
While you're doing that, from my personal perspective, this is my favorite jungler in SMITE. The only other jungler that comes close to the amount that I have played Hbot, and even back when he was Sun Wukong yelling Happy New Year when he ultimated, is maybe Tsukuyomi. I actually really like Tsukuyomi jungle. I'm not a great jungler, but I just think Hbot is so much fun to play. He's so mobile. The ultimate is obviously game-changing to where even if I suck, I can drop the ultimate and good things happen, right? I think we also just did some really interesting +1s for him that potentially up the skill ceiling, but also make him a little bit, I don't want to say more forgiving, but like, I feel like his one. Let's just start talking.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah. You're good. You're
go
good.
on
for
forever.
So speaking of +1s, let's talk about the passive first. So the +1 on the passive is after using an ability, you get those infused strikes just like in SMITE 1. But these attacks now deal 1.2 times damage and grant Hbot a stacking strength buff on successful hit, and this stacks up to 4 times, and I'll expand that just a little bit. So you get 2 strength per stack, and then 0.25 per level, and then the buff lasts for 4 seconds, and of course it stacks up to 4 times. So if you're weaving in your basics between all the abilities, you're going to get that new passive strength buff for 4 seconds whenever you're jungling with Hbot. And then we'll move on to the one, which is somersault. Tried and true.
The big change here is that when you take off, it deals a circle of damage at your feet. So a lot of times in SMITE 1, you would kind of engage with your monkey jump, your 3, and then you kind of somersault away.
Right.
So now at least when you're somersaulting away, you get some benefit from that.
Yeah.
And you can jump in, you can deal damage, you can jump away, you can deal damage, or you can up down and deal double damage.
Yes.
So just a lot more interesting how you choose to use this ability in the moment.
Really cool. And then moving on to the overhand smash, now has another +1 to where Hbot now howls during the initial windup of the ability, and that howling is going to apply a debuff to enemies that will shred protections, I believe.
Yes, it is a protection shred. So if you manage to keep them in the targeter, they will have their protection shredded.
Yeah. And then of course we've got the monkey bouncing again. You can teleport to it as usual.
Yeah, and there's also a really clear visual indicator of what your current target is with that really bright line up and down, which I think makes it just easy to tell where you're going.
Yeah.
And then the other fun bit about the teleport is that you can teleport while you're channeling your 3. So you can show up and just insta-smash basically now, which is kind of fun. And we were also experimenting before this this show started. And you can also, see, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. You can also blink while you're channeling your 3. So if you want to get ready,
Oh, I missed. I can't. There we go.
Yeah. So it's just a nice little thing.
And then the ultimate, of course, the tried and true fear no evil.
It's what it says on the tin.
It's a classic Smite ability.
It is exactly as it was in Smite 1. One fun thing that we also noticed before this show started, can you reset cooldowns and try and time this right? So while you are winding up your ult, you can blink.
Yes.
So have an even quicker ult if you decide to
you want to get active,
blink and
get
do
in
it that
there.
way.
Yep.
So lots of fun little changes to him. And then he's also shipping with an aspect.
Yes, I will go ahead and turn that on and we can talk about it. So Hbot's aspect is aspect of disruption. So infused strikes now slows gods hit by them, but does not grant Hbot's that stacking strength buff. An overhand smash also stuns gods hit by it, but deals reduced damage. So a little bit more utility if you're looking to play Hbot's, maybe support, maybe solo, just a little bit of extra CC and utility into the kit.
Yeah,
and see there's a stun.
He's not going to be the I kill everybody instantly god the way that he can be if you go this way. But if you're trying to be more disruptive, be more supportive, be more, of a CC bot to some extent. I think that was kind of part of Hbot's identity always with the ultimate. And now having a second form of CC on, well, I guess 2 more forms of CC, but another hard CC on the overhead smash, and then the slowdown on the passive.
Yeah.
I think that, there's just a lot of interesting things you can do with Hbot's in Smite 2 that you couldn't do in Smite 1. And that's really kind of our goal whenever we're bringing a god over is, how do we take this god that you know and love, not change them drastically, but just add new fun ways to play your favorite god and more rules. So I think we kind of hit the point here. I think the stun can be very strong. So watch out.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing people try out Hbot's whenever we bring him to live service tomorrow. I think the timing is around 7 a.m. Eastern is when we're planning on flipping the switch and getting that patch out to people to download. And Hbot's will be active in that patch as well whenever we go live.
People want to hear his taunt and joke.
Ooh, 1 second. Let me get
and then while you're pulling that up, there's also a question, does the Smash have CC buffer? I think it counts as a channel.
To put a basket on your head, as you will be eaten by a dog. It is not wise to put a basket on your head, as you will be eaten by a dog. It is not good to hit a dog, because it will no longer help you in case you need to pass the flames of a fire.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we heard those.
Yes.
My understanding, and I could be wrong about this, so please don't hold this against me if I'm wrong. I think the 2 counts as a channeled ability.
I think it does.
And it can be interrupted.
Yes, it can be interrupted.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's not pure, CC immune or CC buffered ability is my understanding.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to bring us back to cams, and I'm going to switch my screen here on the laptop because we got a lot of bug fixes in the patch tomorrow as well.
So the patch tomorrow is a big, it's a very big mid patch for us because normally in the middle of an update, and we're still on OB2, right? In the middle of an OB patch, we try to do all patch fixes or bug fixes that are compatible, I guess is the technical. So basically, in order for this update to go out, we need a new server version and we need a new client version. So you guys are gonna have to download an update tomorrow. But we're pushing this level of changes because there's a couple things we really wanted to fix that we couldn't change just with the server side fix or just with the client side fix. It had to be like a full, almost new patch level update on our side to get these fixes in.
All right, I will bring up the handy dandy laptop, and I apologize. I know I get a lot of crap for the light mode, but
be ready
Google
to be
doesn't have dark mode.
There's no dark mode in Google.
I think there's a Google attachment that you can download, but I just haven't done it on this laptop yet. Maybe I'll investigate that.
Cover your eyes.
And 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, cool. So these are the patch notes for everything that is coming live in the patch tomorrow. Now we talked about this on Monday with Aggro when he was on the show, but the CC buffering will be going live. The CC buffering change will be going live in tomorrow's patch. So that will make leaps no longer be able to be buffered in using the system. They're going to act just like dashes and channels, and you'll be able to interrupt leaps during the pre-fire with CC. God animations will now also complete their post fires before a god enters the CC posture state. Again, just keep an eye out for the weird interactions, things that look funky. We're going to be keeping an eye out on the system and making changes as we see fit.
Yeah, and I think that's the key point is that like this is the next phase of CC buffering as a system. Let's see how this goes. Probably still not the final form. We'll probably keep tweaking it from here, right? But we just got really overwhelming feedback that leaps had become too powerful in this system, especially really quick leaps, and leaps generally feel good when they're really quick. I think that we'll see how this feels. We'll get your feedback, and we'll keep evolving the system from here. I think as a whole, we still believe it's a very good system that's good for Smite 2.
Yeah.
We just need to nail a couple of these details.
Cool. All right, and then we did have one item change that snuck into the patch for tomorrow. We'll have a bigger balance patch on Friday, but just to change the sharpshooter's arrow, the gold gain effect now applies only to gold earned from kills and assists. So just another change for sharpshooter's arrow. I know we got a lot of feedback around that item.
Yeah, and I was talking with I forget if it was AJ or Ro who said it this morning, but like I think there's probably going to be even just more changes to sharpshooter's arrow as part of the balance tomorrow. I think we just felt like it was one of those items that was so overpowered that we had to do something quickly. So we pushed the fix out, and we knew that didn't address the gold earn, which was another big issue with it. So for today's or tomorrow's update, we got the gold earn in, and then I think there's more changes, in the Friday update. For the people who try and pass along the propaganda of it not being overpowered, all of our graphs of like most winning gods, like hunters were up like 20% higher win rate than they were previously. And I think it should be a good, strong option for hunters, but not just build this and you win 20% more or whatever the number was, right? It was overpowered. So they might be underpowered right now with the last round of changes and this gold change, but this is like steps, right?
Yes.
And then on Friday, we'll probably have a bigger update to how things work.
Yeah. All right, moving along to bug fixes under general first. So we added various stability improvements, fixed another round of just crash instances and stuff like that. We added a potential fix for being unintentionally gated for queuing for certain game modes, even if you are over the required level. So we think the change that we're putting in is going to resolve this issue, but we're going to be keeping an eye out for it. If you are still seeing this after the patch tomorrow, please let us know. Fill out the bug report form. Let us know in Discord, social media, and we'll continue to investigate that.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of jousters getting stuck, so it should be better now.
Yeah. We fixed an issue where achievements and trophies were not unlocking properly for all platforms.
We had fixed that, and then it broke again, and now it's fixed again, and hopefully it doesn't break again.
Yeah, hopefully. And then last, under general, we fixed an issue where the highlights on structures were too thick and opaque. So just being a little bit less obtrusive whenever you're highlighting those structures. Under UI, up next, we fixed an issue where the default color settings showed the wrong shades of red and green for health bars. So that should be fixed. We fixed an issue where player progress for level and worshippers would just infinitely fill up in the end of match lobby.
Yeah, that was just a big one. It was a silly visual bug. It wasn't doing anything in the back end, so we knew what progress you were making. It just would show like, oh, it's going up, and it's never going to stop.
Cool. We removed the surrender option from practice just because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. You just click the quick game and just go right back to the lobby. You don't have to wait through that surrender sequence. We fixed an issue where the default picking icon was the wrong lightning bolt image in ranked, so that should be polished up. And then we added various localized text for non-English languages as well. Moving on to maps and modes. First up, we fixed an issue where the crystalline eggs textures were not appearing properly, making it almost invisible and kind of hard to see when it was available to be picked up. We fixed an issue where Joust Picks and Bans custom lobby option was all pick not Picks and Bans.
Yeah, that's kind of misleading.
Yeah. We fixed a big one where meditation was healing towers in Assault.
Oh, yeah, so, unintended. Yeah.
Unintended, but really strong, so that's fixed up. We made it so Assault ignores God ownership status when selecting random characters for players. So this is a Smite 1 parity change. So in Smite 1, if you play Assault, you have the access to randomize and pick any god. That wasn't the case in Smite 2, so it should be fixed.
People they take Assault too seriously, and they make like accounts that only have the gods unlocked that they think are OP in Assault, and that's not what it's about, guys.
Right,
it's about having a random character and then trying to win with the team comp you were given. So So yeah, sorry to ruin your fun if you were a abuser, but I think this will be better for Assault as a whole.
Also for Assault, we fixed an issue where if a player re-rolled a healer god, they didn't re-roll directly into another healer of the same tier. So that should be fixed up, making those healer matches feel a little bit more balanced in Assault. And then last up for maps and modes, we made changes to ranked to better assign skill rating disparity penalties for higher SR.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sure Max does.
Yes, if Max is in chat, he can explain that a little bit better. But moving on to God bug fixes, Danzaburou. We fixed an issue where Danzaburou's rocket was not hitting enemies when you fired the ultimate too close to them, so that's a big one. Bologna, we fixed an issue where her AO1 basic attacks just seem jittery when animating, so she should look a lot better. Vulcan has a lot of fixes here, so we fixed an issue where his mods weren't benefiting from Staff of Mirrodin. We fixed an issue where his turret can be placed on top of Thumper, causing them to overlap. We fixed an issue where Vulcan's deployables were visible on the minimap even if players didn't have vision of them. And then last up, we fixed an issue where Vulcan's turrets were affected by Loki's AO2, causing Vulcan to be blind if turrets were hit with the ability. This also affected Nuwa's clay minions and Danzaburou's clones and has been fixed for those characters
That's
as well.
so cool. Yeah. I didn't know that was a bug. That is a fun bug.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Mordred. We fixed an issue where the enhanced version of his ultimate wasn't playing audio when you connected with enemies. And then last up for bug fixes, Kepri. We fixed an issue with his aspect that caused him to get stuck in place and the person he hit to respawn with permanent tick damage. So
he's just chasing you into the
afterlife. I know, right?
You know, he's smacking you.
So yeah, a lot of bug fixes that you can expect to hit the battleground tomorrow, along with Hbot. So really big update. And then on Friday, we're going to have a pretty big balance patch as well. So lots of things to look forward to ahead of the weekend.
And I think it's going to be Ro's balance bit on Friday.
I think so, yeah. I believe we have Ro coming on the show on Friday. So be back Friday at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Come hang out with us and Ro.
Should be fun. What else? Was there anything else we were going to talk about today?
I think that was it. We wanted to announce Hbot's coming to the battleground tomorrow, and then go through all the bug fixes again, and that was pretty much it. So
Bobby has the first question of the day.
Okay, let's go.
He's drinking the pink slush Alani. What flavor do you have today?
I've got the orange kiss today.
I have the cherry twist.
Nice, yeah.
Yes.
I love how we're just all Alani enjoyers in here. It's
people are asking if there are new skins coming tomorrow. There are not. This is still OB2. So the next wave of skins will come with OB3, which will be probably not next week, but the Monday or Tuesday after that, I'm assuming.
Yes, I believe it's scheduled for the week of February 10th, 11th-ish, somewhere around there.
And then the people who are asking about buffs and nerfs, yes, balance is going to be coming on Friday with buffs and nerfs at that point in time. It was, do we ship Hbot tomorrow or do we wait for balance? I think we ship Hbot tomorrow. Yes. So so that's why we made that decision.
Cool. All right, well.
Flare Boot does not know what Alani is. Alani is apparently an American brand of energy drink. It's relatively new. It's only been around for not too long. I don't know. But yeah, it's like a Red Bull, Monster, whatever.
Yep.
They stock them in our break room, and we drink a
them,
lot of them.
Sweet. All right. Let's open up the floor for questions. Chat, what do you all want to talk about today? I also have YouTube chat up on the laptop, so if you're watching on YouTube, you know, feel free to ask your questions. And
you're going to have to pick the questions next.
I know, right?
I only have Twitch chat on mine.
All right, first question from YouTube. Can we make it so we can walk while looking at stats like in Smite 1?
Walk while looking at stats. I believe that you can, but you have to use auto run.
Okay.
So I guess the question is, are you talking about in console, if you go to the basically, if you go to the tab screen or the menu and then you switch to the combat log, it stops you from moving in console.
Okay.
That is a known issue that I was asking to be fixed yesterday. If there's another area that's stopping you, let us know, and we can take a look.
Cool.
Win the Wandering Market. Wandering Market, I believe, is OB4. So about 3-4 weeks.
About 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I was looking at the UI design this morning, so it's coming right along.
I've been seeing
getting
some
close.
mock-ups,
we haven't shown you the fourth skin that's in the.
No, we haven't yet. Maybe we'll spoil that on Friday.
Yeah, it'll be a fun little spoiler.
Yeah.
Will the 3D ping show up on the battleground and not just the map? Yes, we are actually working on this right now. So in Smite 1, if you say like VA click, then it will play the VGS for attack, and it will put a red targeter in the world, and it will ping the map. We're working on that system right now. I'm hoping that it's an OB3. It might be OB4. Yeah. Probably an OB4 at this point, but it's coming right along. We're actually, there's also a weird console PC parity thing where console can, on the minimap, can ping red or yellow pings, but not blue pings.
Yeah.
PC can ping blue or yellow pings.
But not red.
But not red. And then there's also a white ping that only appears when a ward ping happens. So anyway, we're like, how do we unify this ping system?
Yeah.
So we're working on that.
It's so wild that pings feel like something so minuscule, but the system is so deep that I didn't even realize that some of those options weren't in the game yet. So
yeah, but
I know Alex wrote up a big doc about the ping system.
It's a Smite 1 giveaway. If you ever see a red ping on the minimap, that is a controller player who was in your game.
A few questions about the reporting features. Will we be seeing updates on them soon? For example, the message that lets players know an action has been taken against a player you've reported.
Yeah, that is a good call. We definitely are taking actions on your reports, but we don't have the tech in yet to tell you that we did take action on your reports. Probably something we got to get added to the list. I don't have a ETA on that. Cool.
Is the worshiper page after a game getting fixed? Yes, it'll be fixed tomorrow with the patch that we release.
Can you fix chat window closing too fast after a message or VTS? Yes, that's also something that is on our to-do list. It was staying open for too long, and then we made it too short, so we gotta get a happy medium. I don't think it ever went live the too long, but in our internal testing, it was like, this thing's open forever. There's a question, with this new thing coming, can we get skins in practice to see if it's good or not? We are looking at a way to let you load into practice with a skin equipped. I think that the way it'll work is like you go to the gods tab, and then there's I forget if it's actually called skins, but like the last tab on the right shows you all the skins for a god. And then from there, I think we're going to add a button that says like enter practice with this skin. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be in soon, but we were talking about it yesterday or the day before, so that is a known thing that we want to get in there. Loadout tab. Thanks, Flareboot.
Are we concerned with releasing too many gods early and ending up with a 3 to 4 week gap of no gods while we wait for an unfinished god?
Generally speaking, the rule for live service is get things to the players. Waiting rarely is the right call, right? And I think that games that try to run themselves in a way where it's like, we have a perfect schedule and nothing will ever change, and I've made my character that comes out in 6 months and it's already locked. Like, I don't think that is the path to success. I think you just kind of need to be running as quickly as you can run to get stuff to players. And if there is a gap, then you need to think of something interesting to fill the gap, basically. So there probably will come a point at some point in time, there will be a gap because something will happen, right? It's almost inevitable. But we want to keep pushing to be at a god a week for as long as we can possibly do that, because we know we need to get more content in the game. And then we have a ton of other stuff that we're doing too, right? Like, there was a bunch of bug fixes today. There's a bunch of balance stuff that's coming. There's a bunch of new features like Wandering Market and all this other stuff that we're working on, So it's all going. Will you ever add a feature where you can hop into practice while waiting for a queue and switch into different gods during practice? We're actually testing internally right now, being able to be in the practice map while you're in queue. There might be some problems with it, so I don't think it's going to go live tomorrow or anything. It's definitely not going live tomorrow. But we are working on that. I do know there's also the push button switch god from within the lobby thing. That's something else that we're looking at. So yeah, something we're working on. It's I think it's probably a relatively small percentage of player base that will actually use it to run around a practice map while they're in queue. It's probably more like ranked players who have longer queues will enjoy that. There is some like things that we have to account for, like, well, what happens if you're transitioning from the home screen to the practice map while your queue pops, and how do we handle that? So there's a lot of like weird edge cases around it, and it's something that would never have been possible to do in UE3. We talked about this a lot of times.
Yep.
And just the way that we handle lobbies is so differently in that system that it wouldn't have worked to pull you from one lobby into another. But this, we believe is going to work. I'm not promising that it's going live. It's something we're testing internally.
It's being actively
It's being
investigated.
actively
and tested.
investigated.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for putting better words into my mouth.
No problem. No problem. I had a question. Do we have anything planned to help players better communicate build intentions when in the lobby, i.e. tank versus squishy versus utility, etc.?
That's interesting. I guess like in Smite 1, for arena, you could call like tank or carry or whatnot. I guess the general thought is we do have roles visible, right, for most queues. So you can see, well, I'm going to be a solo laner, so people assume that you're building kind of tanky,
Right,
and I
yeah.
guess you can talk in chat if you are going a different direction. There's something to your idea, making it easier to call and communicate that. I think it's just like there's so many edge cases of how you actually implement it that I just would have to think about it a little bit more before I could tell you if it's 100% a good idea or a bad idea or how we
like
would
if
do
I'm
it.
playing arena and I lock in raw, but I want to go the aspect like tanky build, especially if you're on console, it's a little bit harder to communicate that. So that's definitely good feedback.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Can we give pings that highlight functionality as Hbot 3, like the vertical bar, which is how pings in Realm Royale worked, if you remember. We were it was actually the first BR that allowed you to ping on the map. So claim to fame right there. No, that is a good idea. That I don't know if it would be overwhelming or annoying, but it is a good idea and something I can mention. Somebody used fancy text to ask, will you be adding an option to sell a relic starter item at the start of the map if you haven't left the fountain yet? Click undo, and it works the same way. So if you undo, you can do that now.
Given the surge of popularity of Smite 2 in Asia, have we considered releasing regional dubs for Korean, Chinese, and Japanese translations, for example?
It is very expensive to do regional voice acting, and I don't think that the size of our player base is at a point to justify that. It's something that, you know, if we're successful in the future, we could always consider. At one point in time, we did have a Brazilian Portuguese
it was
translation.
Yeah, it was either Brazilian, Portuguese, or Spanish, or it might have been both. It was
yeah.
via Level Up, the company that was handling Smite in South America.
And you know, it's a lot to handle, both in terms of getting the audio recorded, getting it implemented in game. It increases the size of the download if you're going to include them all by default in the package. You know, there's a lot. Like, it's nice to have the multiple different languages of voiceover, but probably not happening anytime soon. Will custom builds be back? Yes, custom builds will eventually be back. We were talking about the system design for that this morning, actually.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about some details of it. So it is on the roadmap, and we're starting work on it. I would guess it's, you know, a couple months, at least a month away, you know, because it's a pretty big feature to do the way that we want to do properly. We talked previously about some ways to get things in sooner, but everything that we could do to get it in sooner would be like wasted work towards the final version of the system, which, you know, the goal is basically to let you create and share builds, and you can see what the top trending builds are that people are using, and you can add comments to builds into individual items saying like, hey, build this if you're against a Medusa, or, you know, whatever, right? Like, and have that kind of information to try and help you learn how to do like custom builds and be able to build your own builds as well, right? But like, we think that like that transition from auto build to I build for myself is just always been incredibly hard, because it's like you need somebody to be teaching you what the items do, right? And we think that this is a really, really good way to do that.
Yeah. When will we be able to see our ping/latency in game? Is that something that's being worked on?
It's not something that's being worked on, and I'm trying to think the best way to say this. So Smite, there are different ways to tell you what your ping is.
Yeah.
And games choose different paths to do this, right? Smite 1 historically gave you the most like factually accurate way of telling you your ping, which is not the way that most games do that. Most games like don't account for a certain part of the ping. I forget exactly how it works, but basically like Smite 1 ping by default always looked higher than the game felt like it played because of the way that we chose to display your ping
and
to
calculate
you,
it.
right? And the way we calculated it. And it felt very much like a ping that was lower in other games, right? And people used to always like hold that against us of like, oh, well, there's bad ping in Smite 1, like look at the number, right? And I think like when we talk about this internally, it's like, well, do we continue to use the Smite 1 calculation and be true to that and people who've used Smite 1, or do we adopt the new calculation? And if we adopt the new calculation, the people that use the Smite 1 calculation will say, well, they're lying and it feels the same as it used to feel, it, you know, whatever. And, you know, it kind of got into a rabbit hole of like, maybe we just shouldn't, you know, reveal that information. Maybe it's something we'll do eventually. I don't think it's overly hard to do. It's just what calculation do we choose to show? We do have the, if your connection is getting interrupted in any way, there's a graphic that appears on your screen now to kind of let you know that like there's some connection issue happening. But we don't give you the granular, like this number ping.
Yeah. Can we please apply the lighting from practice to the rest of the game? The practice range lighting looks so good and way better.
We've definitely passed along the feedback that the community has really liked the practice lighting. I think Conquest as a whole, we know just, you know, we're working on it, right?
Work,
it needs some work. I think people like there are always mixed opinions about everything, but I think Joust generally looks pretty good, right? So yeah, I think the feedback has definitely been heard though, that people really like the new practice lighting. Somebody keeps asking about Joust ranked. We don't currently have plans to do a Joust ranked queue, but technically, like every queue has matchmaking rating applied to it, right? So you are always going to be match made against people of a roughly similar skill level in any queue. So it's not like you are, you know, going to be beating newbies because you're playing regular Joust and not Joust ranked. The main thing that you're missing from Joust ranked is the ability to like climb a leaderboard that's publicly visible and the kind of public like SR number type thing, right? Which I know is a driver for people. You know, we've talked about like, is there a way to like transition into that or have like a hybrid queue or something? I don't have any updates on that right now. But I think like for right now, we just didn't want to split the Joust population and we felt like it was better to keep it together. Joust ranked is not an incredibly popular queue in Smite 1. Most people just play regular Joust. Any news on console text chat? We still need to pass certification with the text chat. And we are, there were a couple like final features that we're kind of making sure are in and good, because if we change things, then we have to go through full certification again. So sometime soon. The other thing is that like when we do go through full certification, it locks us out from updating for like a week because they're going through the certification process. So it needs to be at a time where we feel confident that like the game cannot be updated for a week. So we need the system to be done, and we need to have a week where we're pretty clear to run the certification.
Will the J Dragon's Bologna skin return in the future? I'm going to take this one because I saw somebody asking about the Dark Heart Zeus skin as well. So yes, the plan is for those to be available at some point in the future. I don't have a current timeline on when those are going to be available. Right now, there's a kind of the exclusive goodies for people that either watched Vegas during our Vegas LAN, got Bologna via Twitch drops, or for attendees that joined us in Vegas, they got a code for the Dark Heart Zeus skin. So they're kind of enjoying those as kind of exclusive goodies for participating in that. At some point down the line, yes, both of those skins will be available for people who didn't get a chance to take part in those festivities. So just keep an eye out for that.
This is the first time I've ever seen somebody ask for a cursor-based inventory system for the item store and console. Historically, because of you're trying to navigate that store quickly and there's so many things to click on, we in the very early days of getting Smite ready for Xbox, like Smite 1, we had a move cursor with your stick version of the item store, and it didn't feel very good. So we don't have any plans to do that. If you want to plug in a mouse, you can plug in a mouse and navigate the store that way. But we think the vast majority of players want to use the actual navigating the grid.
The mouse cursor is resetting to the center of the screen every time you open the store. Can this be fixed? It should stay on the item I left it on. I haven't heard this one before.
Yeah, I can
take a note.
Take a note.
It's a YouTube chat, so it's taking a mental note. Mouse cursor resetting.
Yeah.
After opening the item store.
Cool. Pick another question while I'm typing.
Yes. This is kind of a two-part question. How many Smite 1 skins will come to Smite 2? Also, match of the day win. So I know legacy skins the plan is starting in OB3. We're going to have at least one every update for people to enjoy. Those are going to be purchasable with 100% legacy gems.
Classic skins.
Classic skins.
Yes,
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you can expect those to be hitting the battleground soon. In terms of match of the day, I know that's something that our level design team has been actively working on and talking through. So hopefully soon. I'll have to check in with them and see where they landed on that, just because I know we were talking about it a while ago.
Yeah, they were working on like a couple of the, bigger,
the super popular
like
match of the days.
Yeah,
cooldowns runneth over.
Yeah, and I think there is a good question of like, if we had the full roster, would we actually run it every day, or would we run it as like a special queue
limited time event
weekend or a special limited time event or something? So yeah. Are there updates on T-Screen stopping movement? I talked about this earlier. Yeah, no an issue. I believe you can change your settings to, in the settings menu, there's something that says move while in menus, or allow movement while in menus. And if you have that enabled, you should be able to keep moving while it's open. But that's one of those that should just not stop you normally. So no an issue. The trading gods in Assault without having to lock in our god, I think that's a limitation of our new system. But I will ask. Are we still doing Titan Talk 3 times every week? That's the current.
It's the plan,
pace?
unless y'all get sick of seeing us 3 times a week. But no, Killgoon and I have been having a blast doing this. It's been really awesome just hanging out with y'all.
Yep.
Every other day during the week and just catching up, chatting, and talking about Smite 2. So we're gonna continue to do it for as long as people continue to want to watch.
You'd like 5 times a week. No.
Yeah, 5 times a week.
Too much.
We got to make the game too,
Yes, I try and work from home at least one day a week.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
Thoughts on ever adding MultiQ to Smite 2?
So I don't believe our current tech supports it, but we have talked about it, and I think it would just take a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's kind of the long and the short of that. Chat's like flying.
I know,
today.
chat's
There's
moving
a
fast
lot
today.
of good
I don't know
questions
what's going
today.
on.
Yeah,
people must have heard that we're releasing Hbot.
Yeah, they're like,
will we ever get personal profiles in game back to Smite 2? All the big games like LOL, Marvel Rivals, etc. have them.
You mean? So do you mean like the my personal stats page, or do you mean like I can put my account level badges and stuff to show off, right? Yeah. I think, we do have like some individual stats. Like we're tracking a lot of stats right now. We basically just don't have the UI to show it.
Yeah.
I think at some point we will add that in. I think it's just not it wasn't an immediate priority for the UI team. It's like, okay, if you can have HUD editor, item builder, or personal profile, how do you prioritize this, right? And so like we're trying to do the things that we think matter the most, the soonest, and then as we have time, we'll get to more of the other things. Snufflebox keeps asking about the unique death animations. I think I think there is more that we can do to make the death moment feel impactful and visually clear. I think the problem with the death animations from Smite 1 is that there is no rhyme or reason to what a character does during a death animation, right? They each character has silly things that happen, right? Some of them go flying off into space. Some of them, like get wrapped up in a mummy, and like it's just was that an ability that did that to them, right? They don't clearly instantly read as this character died unless you have played the game a million times, right? And we felt like it was making it harder to read the flow of combat to have those animations playing. And we got that feedback really consistently especially from newer players, that like, if you look at, again, I don't know if this question said it, but a lot of people say, oh, well, there's, death animations in League of Legends, right? The death animations in League of Legends are almost always character falls onto the ground, right? And there's sometimes a little bit more flair to it, but like ours are very wild in Smite 1. So we really want to make it clearer. And so what they do now is they actually play like the first little bit of the death animation, and then the character fizzles out, right? We could extend it. We could play it longer, right? But we thought it was better to have the clear, like, you have killed a person right now feedback. I think we can do more there. Currently, we don't plan to bring death animations back because we like this, like, let's have a quick, clear, I killed someone moment. But I think that, like, we can be doing that better. Is bun hats the default Hbot skins? We probably have to get that one in as a classic at some point, though. That's good. Any chance at all for a new 4v4 game mode? So this has been a lot of people who are like, I don't like the idea of Conquest or Turbo Conquest, and I only like the 4v4 modes. Right. The 4v4 modes have always been historically really unpopular in Smite. Like they've always, like I loved Siege. I played a lot of Siege. I played Slash when it was 4v4, but it wasn't as popular as a 4v4 as it was the 5v5, I think people just, the bigger game modes or the smaller game modes have always been more interesting to people. 4v4 has just not been the sweet spot, right? There is a chance at some point in the future that we do a 4v4 mode. There was some people were talking, again, I just talk on this show. This is not me saying that we're definitely gonna do this. We were bullshitting internally about like, well, what if we did like a Turbo Conquest, but we just cut down like 2 of the lanes, and it was 4v4 or 5v5 on 2 lanes of Conquest. Like, would that be interesting, right? So I think that there's a lot of options out there, but it's like, do we really want to invest the time to build a new map for a 4v4 game mode that is almost certainly going to be unpopular? Or are we better off spending that time on a Conquest map or on a dedicated Assault map, right? And right now we feel like the thing that we can do that will make the game the best is spending that time on improving the Conquest map. And then from there, we'll reassess. An HDR toggle for a console? You don't want HDR? You want to be able to turn it off? I'm just curious why. There probably is a good reason, but I'm curious why. The mandatory Titan Talk spoilers. I don't think I have anything to spoil today. We spoiled that Hbot's
yeah, we spoiled that Hbot is coming out tomorrow. That's a big one. This is kind of in line with the death animations answer, but a couple people in YouTube chat are asking about victory screens like we had in Smite 1 for Smite 2.
Yeah, I think like I get the feedback about the wanting more character in the game and more feels of the individual characters. I think the victory and defeat screens did not, over the years with our UI changes, like they kind of got more and more deprioritized to the point where you don't really even see them very much in Smite 1. And I don't think that they add much to the game anymore. So I guess what I'm saying is I think we need to do more to get more of the characters' personalities back into the game.
Yep.
I don't think victory and defeat screens are necessarily the right way forward, because when you land on the post-match screen, people within a fraction of a second click on show me the grid of numbers.
Yeah.
I want to see how much damage I did. Very few people sit around and watch that victory and defeat animation, and they're incredibly time consuming for us to do. Like to the point where it's like, you know, doing the victory and defeat animation is almost as long as like animating the rest of God's kit, depending on how out of scope we let them get, because some of them did get very out of scope. They're fun. I'm not saying they're not fun, but I think it's just like, did they add a lot to the game when most people chose not to ever watch them?
Yeah.
You know, mostly I interact with them by hearing their unique soundtrack in the background as I'm reading my stats, right? And that's not the best. I do know that we're looking at, I saw SMITE posting today that we were looking at some of the like audio lines that should be playing, like when you buy items or when you place a ward and stuff, haven't been playing or have been playing at the wrong frequency. So that is something that we should have sooner than later, I believe, that will add a little bit more character to the game for sure.
Have a bug report that aspects turn on gods that I have it disabled for when I pick them. So maybe we can look into that.
Yeah, we can take a look.
Yeah.
There's a question about merch. I will not comment on the quality of our current merch, but I will say merch is very much a like fan service thing. It always is. We have never made like really much money off of merch, right? It's not a thing that we do to make money, and because of that, like it's usually like there is some person on staff who is excited about merch and makes a collection happen, right? So it's kind of like somebody on staff in their extra time or in their overtime is like, I want the community to have merch to buy, so I will find a way to get some merch made. We don't have plans for more merch right now, but always happy to do another merch run. If anybody's watching this and, you know, just loves Smite 2 and wants to make some merch and design it and take care of everything, and, you know, we can talk, because the less I have to deal with it and players just get to buy cool things, and I'm not trying to make money off of it. It just, you know, it's fan service. As long as you have the actual approval from us legally and whatnot, you know, hit me up. Merch is the biggest seller for so many things. Merch is not a very big profit center for any video game. I would assume. Maybe like if you're Fortnite and you're selling Nerf guns that are Fortnite branded in Target, then probably you're making good money off of your merch. But you have to be really big before it starts to be relevant, right? A lot of companies over the years we've seen like have been like, oh, we're going to take over merch and we're going to do it internally. And it's going to be great. And then like a year later they have fallen and they're like, we're not going to do this anymore. It was taking too much time and it wasn't making any money. Are we aware that Aphrodite is the most iconic god we've ever created? I don't know who designed her. That's a good question. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have the answer. This bug where Zeus chain lightning doesn't bounce right, I will make a note of that too. Okay. It's possible that we're trying to fix. I know there was a bug with it bouncing too far in some cases, and it's possible that in fixing that, we made it not bounce to the wave properly in some cases.
Yep. Quality of life request. Can we have the accept role trait option require a different button to accept or a hold to accept rather than being the same button to select a god on console?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Accept trade. Yep, good one. Didn't think of that. What is it on Smite 1? Does anybody know? Yeah. Is it hold?
I don't remember off the top of my head in Smite 1.
Well, maybe we shall toss in a second. This is another one that comes up a lot. Like, will we ever be able to ping our items in game like it's possible to do in League, right? This is a keyboard and mouse feature, essentially, right? Like, you are never going to stop moving to navigate the HUD with your D-pad to ping something on console. So because of that, it's something that has just kind of generally been deprioritized, because wherever possible, we try and work on things that are best for, they help people playing both versions of the game. Because we have a very large console player base and we have a very large PC player base, right? It's something that we have talked about a lot. I would love for it to happen at some point in the future, but it's just like, you know, because it only affects half the player base, it hasn't been as prioritized. The push a button to pin a god on the god screen is the same as leaving a queue. Okay. I will look at that one as well.
Let's see here.
Will there be a way to trade for a re-rolled god in Assault, i.e. a pool? We've had discussions about that kind of thing. It's obviously not in the game right now, but it's something that we've had discussions about, and you could see at some point in the future. Yeah. The other day I got -1 XP and Worshipers from a duel. That was probably the bug that will be fixed tomorrow. So yeah, it didn't actually, basically there's a visual bug and those numbers weren't really what was happening. So
can we add the ability to zoom in on controller?
Could controller ever zoom in?
I'm not sure.
I think that
back, yeah.
So it is a
it's you can map it, yeah.
So you could bind something to it. I think the problem is that there's just not a lot of buttons that are open on controller.
Yeah.
So you'd have to like get rid of other things. There's a bug where I keep losing. Can you fix it? Sorry, buddy. Are we ever going to bring back gifts? Gifting is an interesting system that I'm trying to think of the way to say it. I'm sorry. It's a good system. It's nice to be able to give things to your friends, and you know, every once in a while when you're in a match with somebody who is just awesome, you know, you send them something, especially when we did gift tokens and yada yada yada. But I think the issue that we have always had with gifts is there's a concept called arbitrage, where basically we don't price things the same in every country, right? So like if you're buying currency in, I'm just gonna say Ukraine, it is cheaper to buy currency in Ukraine than it is in the United States, because people's purchasing power is different. They earn different amounts of money, right? So in order for things to be fair on a regional level, we need to price things different regionally. Every game does this. But because we allow gifting, there have historically always been bad actors who, I set up shop in, you know, Turkey or a country that has cheap currency, and I sell gifts to people via the internet and, you know, abuse the currency exchange rate, which is arbitrage, is abusing exchange rates, basically. We have a lot of like weird restrictions that we put in place over the years in Smite 1 to try and like combat that as much as possible. Even still, it happens sometimes and it's annoying. And then once we catch it, then we ban people, and then they're mad that they're banned. And then, you know, it's like, it's a lot of drama. Yeah. And the amount of people that actually send gifts like for legitimate reasons versus the number of people that do it to try and get around like currency is much fewer people try and send them legitimately. So I like the system in terms of like the idea of, I like being able to give things to my friends, and I like being able to reward people that I play with. But there just are a lot of like logistical issues around like letting people give gifts across regions. So, yep. Has all chat been considered? All chat has been considered. There is all chat in post-match lobby. We believe that in-match all chat tends to be overwhelmingly negative and toxic, right? It's very rare that you're going to say in all chat, wow, person on the other team, that was a great play, and not mean it sarcastically. Because like think about these games that you have played with all chat. Has it ever been used in a positive way that makes people feel better about their lives? I don't think so. And you can say, oh, well, people need to be tougher and, blah, blah, blah. The number one reason why people stop playing Smite, every survey we've ever asked, is like toxicity. Like, people do not want to be yelled at. People play games to have fun. They don't want to be like told, horrible things that you think are funny because you're an edgy 13-year-old. Okay. Like, people just want to play games and have fun.
Yeah.
And we're trying to create an environment where people can play a competitive game and have fun. And there could be a little bit of like, good-natured banter,
yeah.
right? But like, all chat is almost always a little bit further than good-natured banter, right? And I would say that like, we know that our current chat filter is maybe a little bit too filtering, but we wanted to start by going a little bit too far because it's such a problem in Smite and every competitive multiplayer game that allows chat, right? Like, do you want to know why multiplayer games on the internet are like, 90% men aged 16 to 21? Because they're the only people that will put up with getting yelled at all day to play a video game, right? If you want to grow a community, be more welcoming of like women or older people or people that can't make their entire life playing a video game, you need to, not have chat just be a toxic cesspool.
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, too much of a soapbox. I always am passionate about this, though.
No worries. Well, we are nearing the end of our time, so it's time for one more question. Dun-dun-dun. All right, I'm going to pull a YouTube question. If you want to pull a Twitch question, then we kind of separate it that way. And then
oh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So hold on. I'll let me wait for YouTube chat to fill up a little bit more.
I'm going to answer too, because this is a really quick one.
Go for it.
Why are the Conquest Titans using older models from Smite 1? Our art director thought they looked cooler. That's it. He just thought that they would look really cool in UE5, and so we chose to use those.
Yeah.
You guys know our art director, Ben. He's been on the show. And then I will pick another one that is a slightly longer answer.
Let's see here.
Oh, I will answer this one, which is not actually a longer answer, but just is an answer. Are skin chests and announcer packs coming back? At some point in time, yes, we will have skin chests again. They will function like in Smite 1, where you don't roll duplicates and, there's a certain number of things in the chest and you click roll and you get one of the things, right? Yeah. We think that the skins chest system in Smite 1 is pretty darn fan-friendly. Anything in a chest you can still buy direct as well. It just is more expensive to buy direct than it is to get things through a chest. Players in Smite love getting things at a discount, and chests are a great way to do that, right? Every other system that we've tried to do that with has performed worse. Yeah. So we will keep the chest system from Smite pretty much one-to-one. There will almost certainly be some changes because, like, just technically, but we were talking about having a little bit more interesting, like, opening experience, which is cool. You know, like, not just click button, instantly get item, but maybe you see chest go whoop, boop, and then you get the item, but like, it's going to be basically the same damn thing. The other part of the question was, are there going to be announcer packs? Kellen keeps asking me that he wants to bring announcer packs back. He wants music packs and announcer packs. Really, we just need, like, it's work from the audio team to implement them, and then it's work from the UI team to create a way to select them. Yeah. So at some point in time, we'll almost certainly have audio packs and announcer packs come back. Just, again, not the top priority with our resources right now.
Yeah, cool. All right, and the one I'm going to pick is kind of in line with the what we were talking about earlier, but can we get a block feature to avoid rematching with toxic players?
That's a good question. I'm sure Max has a more intelligent answer, but I'm not sure if our matchmaking works to account for people who have blocked people.
Yeah.
And it could just create weird matchmaking situations. If you can, I believe, block somebody and then just not see their chat in future matches, but just not getting match made with them at all Yeah, Max would have to give you more of an answer on that one.
Thinking about it, there could be some implications for potential abuse. Like, I'm just gonna block PBM so I never have to play against him in ranked and stuff like that, which could create some weird scenarios and stuff for the matchmaking for sure.
Oh, and I will answer one more.
One more.
Sorry, it's only 2. We aren't that late.
I know, right?
Any updates on the audio feedback of the game? Some of the sound effects feel like they are lacking weight or whatnot. We've seen this come up a lot recently in discussions. The audio team is working on one system that they think is going to improve this. Might not be 100% fixed, but there's something that SMITE 1 does with audio where basically like sound effects are played in both 2D space and 3D space for some sound effects that are more important. And we're not doing that right now in SMITE 2. We're only playing them in 3D space. So once we have that in, which I believe should be OB4 maybe, please don't quote me on that, but relatively soon, that should address some of the feedback that we've been getting. There may be other things that we still need to do. There probably are, but like we are aware of the feedback. We're working to address it. And yeah.
Sweet. All right, well, we are at an hour. Chat, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, that's going to be the end of our show today. But tomorrow, remember, 7 a.m., we're going to have a patch with a lot of bug fixes. Plus, Hbot, the Howler Monkey God, is going to be joining the Battleground in SMITE 2. We're definitely looking forward to seeing all the plays with Hbot. Looking forward to seeing Multi-Man Fear No Evils, all that fun stuff. Blink Fear No Evils, channeled monkey teleport, overhand smashes. It's going to be really awesome.
It's going to be good.
Exciting to get another jungler out.
Yep, and then Balance on Friday, and we'll be here to talk about it.
Yep. So until then, we will see you all on the Battleground. Hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Take care. Peace.